every training that we do for trainers or for fathers, almost 3-4 hours in the training every time, someone puts up his hand and says, how can I restore the damage? I've messed up so much. I did everything wrong. I didn't know what to do. No one taught me. What should I do now? If you feel like this, just listening to some of these videos, I want to encourage you tonight. And let me tell you what I did when I discovered that I have messed up. You know, when I was young and I got this first daughter, I was not as mature emotionally as I am now. And therefore, obviously, when you are under stress, you work very hard, you come home, there are so many things to do and so many things on your shoulder. And then sometimes you just make so many mistakes. I actually discovered it only much later. One day I was sitting in an aeroplane flying home, and in front of me there was a dad with a 3-year-old daughter next to him. And this daughter started to, well, maybe he thought she misbehaved. I don't think so, because the 3-year-old daughter cannot sit still for 2 hours in an aeroplane. But he thought she misbehaved, and he wanted to force her to sit still for 2 hours. It was obviously very difficult for her. And at a stage, he just lost it. And he grabbed the daughter, pulled her over his lap, and he just spanked her terribly. To that extent that I wanted to physically get involved with the father. But I reminded myself that I'm supposed to be a kind and a good person. So when my anger disappeared, God started to convict me that you just saw yourself in this man. That you did the same when you were young. And just God convicted me that I made so many mistakes when my child was young that I have to go back to her and ask her for forgiveness. I flew back home, kissed my wife, went straight to the room of my daughter. She was then 17 years old. And I said to her, Almarie, can you come to have some coffee with me? I want to take you to the restaurant to have some coffee. Her eyes lit up. Dad, taking me for coffee? I said, yes, just you and me. Wow, Dad, this is great. We went for the coffee. And in this restaurant, I confessed my mistakes to her. This is how I did it. And this is how I suggest you do it. I said to her, Almarie, when I was young, because of my immaturity, because of my own struggles and insecurities, I did not deal well with you. Actually, I should not have spanked you so much. If I knew better then, I would have done it much, much better. Please, you have to forgive me. Because in your forgiveness, you carry the keys to release me from this prison. I feel so convicted. Please open the doors of this prison and tell me you forgive me. Please, for the sake of the future of my life, just tell me you forgive me. I beg you, please forgive me. I was wrong. I'll never forget that day. The big tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked into my soul and she said to me, Daddy, of course I forgive you. Oh, I started to cry. She cried. It was a mess, a public spectacle. We cried there. We hugged each other. I went back home. I thought, this is terrible. It was probably the worst day of my life. 4 years later, Christmas Eve, reminiscing about the best days of our life. My son said, when we skied on the ski slopes, my other daughter said something else. Almarie's turn. Almarie said, the best day of our life, of my life, and the life of our family, was the day that Daddy took me for coffee. 4 years later. She remembered this as her best day. It was my worst day. It was her best day. Why? Listen carefully, my brother. Listen carefully, father of children. Listen carefully. You bond in weakness, not in strength. Don't try and justify anything you've done wrong. Don't try it. Don't even try it. Because you never bond in strength. You bond in weakness, not in strength. If you've messed up with your wife, you go back to her and you confess. You bond in weakness. If you messed up with your child, go back and confess. You bond in weakness. Now you know what to confess. We've taught you. You can say, I've done this wrong. I've done that wrong. I've done that. Be specific, please. Be specific. I should have done this. I should have done that. Please, my child, forgive me. And give me the opportunity that from today onwards, I will be a better father. I want to represent God. And I want to be the best father that I can become. Can you give me the opportunity to prove this to you? And lo and behold, by the forgiveness And by starting a new life, you will restore a lot of damage, and God's favor will be upon you.